about the launching and landing methods. So first I will introduce the overview of launching and landing methods. Then we are going to see the launch and recovery of a rotary wing UAV, and finally is the launch and recovery of a fixed wing UAV. So here we have some differences, and you can see it on the slide. So for all the pneumatic craft must initially took off and launch to become airborne. It means that in the air, and at the end of the flight mission, they must land on an airfield or to be covered in some manner. So launch involves transitioning the UAV from a non-flying state to a flying state. In the case of a conventional runway launch, this can be considered takeoff, and land involves the transitioning the UAV from a flying state to a non-flying state. So this is very clear definition for land or launch. So we have several conventional and unconventional method for launch and recovery, and they have been used widely for manned aircraft for over many years, and these methods are largely enabled by the inclusion of pilot physical constraints and inclusion of much lower UAS weight, and now we are going to see some of them. So the method of launching the aircraft may be considered with three types, each with an appropriate means of recovery. So the first one is the horizontal takeoff and landing. So on the grid in the period where there is a land prepared surface, a runway or strip available. So it means that we will have a runway, and the aircraft will run along the runway where it has enough lift from the air to the wind launch. So for the second one is the catapult or zero-man rocket powered. It means that in this situation, the aircraft has no vertical flight capabilities, and the operating circumstances or terrain is not enough for the runway. So we can, for example, this is our drones, and we can put another rocket inside. And then we will put it in some mechanism based on, and then the rocket will start and push the whole system forward. And then when the aircraft has enough speed for it means the minimum down speed, so the piston will attach from the aircraft, so and it will land on the air. And the last one is the vertical takeoff and landing. So this one is for mostly for the recovery. So there are several methods for launch. So the first one is the ride launchers, rocket launchers, air launchers, hand launchers, conventional light launch, gun launch, and ground vehicle launch. So we are going to see each of them. So this is for the launch and recovery of a rotary winged UAV. So for the vertical takeoff and landing UAV, or we can call the VUAV, they need only to be positioned on the decks before launch and retrieved after landing. So we need it's required only few person is needed. So this method can be used for small type of UAV and can be retrieved by hand, and for the larger type we may need some sort of equipment to retrieve and store the UAV. Okay. So this can be done also for the can also be done for the helicopters. So now we are going to see the launch and recovery for fixed wing. So we have several methods, and we can see in the next slide. We have the rocket assisted takeoff. We have bungee core. We have hydraulic launchers and pneumatic launchers. So the rocket assisted takeoff I have already explained you. So they put one rocket down to, at the bottom of the UV, and so you can see on the UV rocket is attached in a reloadable motor system. In takeoff, the rocket is launched to then accelerate the UV enough for its own engine to take over. So the rocket is then released, so it does not add to the weight during the rest of the UV's operation. So when the UV is in the air, so we don't need the rocket anymore. We just release it in order to not affect the weight of the fixed wing drones. So when we release the rocket, so it will be better if it will drop into the water, because otherwise, so the rest thing of the rocket can damage houses and maybe damage the humans, and maybe if it falls to the forest, maybe it will be burned. So it's very dangerous. So this one is not a good solution, and it maybe can be used in maybe on the sea. So from the ship, so you can see it. So you can see this picture. So the rocket will be attached down at the bottom of the drones, and this method has the advantage that it has small flex footprint. So we have only the small equipment for to hang the fixed wing UV, and we have small initial cost. It means that the cost for this rocket is not really high, and we can prepare it in advance. It means that we can prepare fast and convenient, and we can repeat. We can repeat this setup in a very short time. It means that we can launch different UV in a short time, so it's easy. However, so it has some disadvantages. So we have the negative effect on the visual heat and overall signatures. So the rockets require special care. So because if the rocket is not good enough, so maybe when the rocket is through the drone, but and stop suddenly, and when the drone doesn't have enough stone speed, so every system will be full. So we have to take care about this one. And for the safety consideration, so when we release this rocket, it has to take care that it will not fall to the civilian zone. and the rescue cost is a little bit significant. Okay, so now we are going to see the bungee crawl. So I think the first we see the picture, so I think it will be easier for you to imagine. So you can see in this one, the bungee crawl. So this is the right way of the equipment, and it has a very strong core. We call it bungee core, and it will still to some hook of the aircraft, and when this bungee cord is enough for strength, so we will release this one, and the aircraft will go forward very fast and enough. And we have to calculate the strength of the bungee cord in order to have enough speed for the aircraft. So this one we need a metal runway that is pushed at a launch angle, a bungee cord or multiple bungee cord, and winch to be able to strengthen the cord. So priority to launch the bungee cord is strengthened into necessary tension and secure with safety pins. These are then released to launch the UAV. Okay, so due to the simplicity in the design and the system, it is not required many mechanical or electrical components, and it is relatively lightweight. So it is restricted by the characteristics of the core, and usually require a long way to be able to accelerate enough the speed for the UAV to get the necessary velocity. Okay, so these methods are often limited to the lightweight UAV. For the heavier UAV, we will have another method. We will use pneumatic, or we will see shortly. So it has several advantages. So we have very simple in concept. We just need the right way, need the bungee cord, and that mechanism in order to tie the cord to have enough strength to get the desired speed for the aircraft. We have low signature and low cost. This one is cost not too much. However, we have some disadvantages. So this one is only limited to the small UAV, and we need a high inertia and acceleration in order to push the drone into the air. And in fact, it's not easy to predict the final velocity of the aircraft in order to have enough stall speed. So we cannot predict. So another one solution is the hydraulic launchers. So this one we can use for even for the heavier craft. So let's see this one. So you can see this one we have the hydraulic mechanisms. We have 2 or 3. So it still has the runway like in the situation of bungee cord, but it will use the hydraulic. So the hydraulic launching devices are typically also designed as a catapult while launchers. The fundamental of this system is that it has 2 compartments cylinder, and the compartments are separated by a piston that has a compressible gas on one side of it and hydraulic oil on the other side. And when we and when we push back in one side, we will make some pressure. And when we release, so this pressure will push the cylinder forward, and we can release the drones. So we have some advantages for this method. So it can control over the whole launch phase from beginning to the end, and we can repeat this launch very fast. We can repeat we can launch several aircraft in a short time, and it can be used for different type of aircraft, and even for the high weight UAV. And the low recurring cost, it means that the cost for maintenance in time is very low. So it's not a big deal for the maintenance cost. However, the initial cost is very high. So this equipment is not cheap, it's expensive, and we have a less footprint. So this one is big, and okay. And the next is the pneumatic launcher. So the pneumatic launcher system are much like the hydraulic ones. So we can see the pictures. So this one, you can see this one, the pneumatic. So we have the same contribution as the hydraulic. The energy are stored and compressed gas and dry together with the carbon and the same principle. So usually the gas that is used is the air, and is pressurized in accumulator tanks. The launch is done by letting the compressed air out through a valve and accelerate the current that holds the UAV. So the principle are the same. So they compress air and releases and push the drones into the air. So we have to see that some of the downside, some of the not look right with this technique is that the compressor to pressurize the air needs to be proud, and it can take time to refill the accumulator tanks. So we need the time to prepare. So the advantage of this method is it can control over the whole launch phase. It can control from the start to the end of the railway, the proven design, and also the low recurring cost. This is the cost for the maintenance is low, and it adapts to different type of UAVs, even for the heavy UAV. And we have several disadvantages. So the time for decompress the air or the liquid is long. So each time we after that we have pushed the UAV, we have to wait again to prepare. And this equipment has a large footprint, and the initial cost is expensive. So this is I think this is the final one. So this one is very simple. That we will hang the UAV with a parachute, and we launch it somewhere, and we just cut the wire in order to release the drones. However, this solution has some advantage and disadvantage. So you see that for this solution, we have very small deck footprint when stored, and we have the decoration on pressing, very low decoration cost because this one is not expensive. This one can be applied to several types of UV and can be used for both launch and recovery. So for launch, we will cut the wire, and for recovery, we just push it where we want to land. We just push it, so we can land. So this method we can use for even for launch and recovery.
Is this a parasol or a parachute? I guess it's an iron model.
This is parachute way.
And it's
Yeah, but when you want to land, you can have a parachute like this one, and you just push it into the air and stop.
Not with this model. I have worked with this model. This
one?
particular model is landing. Just
Yeah, this is no, this is for. This is this picture maybe for landing, but okay, I will change the picture.
You see this gap
Yeah.
on the bottom of the blade? Yeah, right here.
This one?
So it has a cap, and when it's landing, the cap is thrown away and the parachute is released. So this is the landing pilot model.
Yeah, maybe this one is not the right picture. Okay, but I mean the principle that we can use it when we cut the wire, and when we want to land, we just release the parachute. So we have the disadvantage. So we have it is the wind dependent. So wind depends on the wind. If we have a strong wind, so the drone will not be stable enough to do launch. So this one is not a good solution. So this one I think is better for land. I think it's better for land. Okay, so now we are going to see the next one is the land, or we can call it recovery for fixed wing UAV. So the simplest and the most cost efficient way to recover a fixed wing UAV is the option that parallel the full size manned aircraft. So we have, for example, we have the landing for the conventional way on the runway. And we have another solution. We have a net recovery, arresting lights, shy hook, wind shock, and parasite. Yeah, this one is for the solution that we have seen. So now we are going to see net recovery. So we will see the picture, this picture. So you can see they will arrange a net, and they just fly the aircraft into this net. So the net, using a net for recovery is a pretty straightforward solution. The technique is to have a vertical mount net that you will flies into for quick landing. And simple and reliable technique does not involve complex components, so we just need the net, that's all. However, we have a problem with net recovery is that it can damage the UAV because when the UAV flies very fast and suddenly stop to the net, it can damage the propellers. Yeah, but however nowadays we have some technique in order to, if the propellers stuck, it will stop the motor. So this one can be used. However, we have to take care about the damaging the propeller. Another disadvantage of the net system is the complex and labor intensive, as it needs to be set up and taken down in between operations. So whenever we want to recover the aircraft, we have to hire the net, and whenever we don't need it, we have to release it. And the net it is not small. It has to be big enough in order to catch the drones. Okay, so the advantage of this solution is very simple, and we have zero length recovery. However, we have some disadvantages, so it require a lot of money. So we have to man this aircraft to fly directly to the net, and sometimes it's not an easy task if we have the small net, or we have some conditions as well that is not good, so it can be thrown to the net. And we need the large test footprint for this net. And the time for setup this net is very huge, and we have the risk of damaging the UV, so it can damage the propellers or the wings. So the arresting line is the next landing method. So okay, so let's see the picture first. So you can see here we have a line. Right? So so suppose we have a line hits here, and this is our bronze, and we have a hook at the bottom, and our mission is now to catch the hook with the wire, and the wire will decrease the velocity of the bronze. So there are several ways to arrange the arresting line. One solution is that is easy to relate to is the one used on the aircraft carrier when landing full-size aircraft. So for an UV, the solution is first smaller. The system usually includes the arresting line and braking systems that are put together with a stanchion and a boom. So it has some advantages and disadvantages. So you can see for this solution, it's very quick recovery. So it means that when it's suddenly stopped and the arresting line will deaccelerate the speed of the drones, and we have zero length recovery because we have just the line here, so we have zero length recovery. So and this advantage, so we have a rush landing. It means we have suddenly stopped, and maybe the speed is decreased too fast. And we need commonly a fixed system on the land. So we need the system on the land. And I think there's another that we need to have a very, very strong structure in order to the hook, in order to maintain the aircraft with the line, because it flies very fast and suddenly stop if the hook is not strong enough. So everything will be crushed. The shrine hook. So there is another solution. This one is some kind of like the arresting line. But okay, let's see this one. So as you have seen that the arresting line, we have the line is on the land, right? But now with this shrine hook, the line is somehow vertical, or somehow this one is not light on the land. Okay. And how can it run? So for example, this is the okay. This is the line. Okay, this is the line.
Hello, everybody. So, could you just take a picture? Well, I would like to introduce our colleague, Andrei Static, is from Action Company, who saved us delivering the drones for this lab.
And he will provide us some equipment for
Yes,
okay.
This is take part in our discussion.
Okay. So can we have a break?
5 minutes?
Take this one. See that for
Штампилась. Да. Și semnez eu, nu o problemă. Ca să n-alerg în loc pentru că eu știu că m-am primit și eu i-am scris lui Francesco, dar ei s-au ocupat cu raportarea pe jumătate de proiect și o înțeleg că o și parolul. Eu i-am trimis codul meu de acces lui Vecislav. Eu vă promis că azi o să downloadez toate cursurile și să le primim. Da, eu i-am trimis deja. Eu i-am dat accesul Vecislav. I-am dat parola. I-am dat parola.
It's too big for this.
Давай же мы рисовать.
Давай, да его вообще столько.
Да, окей.
Так, я помню, что там делаешь смотрю, вообще не важно.
Я его вспомнила.
Может, я дойду сюда рисую.
Да, да. Ты просто что, не бежал с молоком, читаешь на выход, на твой нам время.
А то нужно, да, не нужно, это не нужно было.
Вам... окей.
Do you need this
Stamps for your papers? Yes? Do you have?
No, it's in Russian, this is the only project that you are now in Kitchener from if you have from your university or you don't need. So in your case, because for our organizations it's really
Нет.
да,
For me?
Да?
Good idea. That paper? Let's see. Yeah, let's go.
У вас доверие, you have trust Yes, the question was
Yeah, we have to order from maybe. So now you want to buy the parts, the missing parts, or you want to revise Yes, yes, they're ready to let's do black and think we're going to take a break, and we don't need to waste our time for anything.
Asta ca o soluție bună pentru spațiul radio, dar și țină de pietul, emisii, asta trebuie să se clasa asta.
Este acum, nu știu, pur și simplu 2 săptămâni, dacă așteptăm, vor terminați cursurile. Și nu are niciun sens. Ce șans? Trebuie să te așteptați la este? Nu, eu știu cât îți costă, dar voi pur și simplu 2 săptămâni aveți civil application și două perioade. Deja vedem două nu vă trebuie, două de aici,
Da, trebuie cum?
ele acum trebuie. Ele trebuie la drona bonus, la drona internă, la drona equipment, la shadow, putem știi cum, utili, dar prin rășelile toți. Pentru că voi aici să vă jucați.
subiect nu știm de fapt urmă, sau oamenii nu este de fapt.
Ce scuze, ieri eram în Văd de Foc, o spun colegilor și alături, deci într-un butic de ăsta, un metod de pic cu doi puși de 9 ani și a cerut o dronă, 1000 și ceva de lei, deci o cutie așa de mare, cu tot împachetată, adică eu am întrebat chiar de bară, da, e reală, vă dați seama, de acum pentru copii cumpără.
Da, mă întrebat că meu are de...
Ce eu am adus din Germania? Eu am fost. Eu așa m-am murat. Zic, 9 ani, nu te cred, eu vă mai rog să
E pur și simplu, dacă facem tendere, trebuie să se facă pe biserică și atunci când nu tare.
Da, dar student nu o să fac tendere, dar și eu, cine la sfârșit călătoria asta, pentru mai mari, mai ales pentru utilaje specializate, dar нарочно не придумали.
Eu te înțeleg, chiar domnul Grașe, mai din Armenia, a spus că ei deja au organizat de 2 ori.
Și acum înțelegeți că de prima dată am cumpărat pe la prima generală nu știu o piatră.
Nici nu, nimeni nu știu, da?
Dar este un an.
Ce puțin privat, de firmă.
Asta noi le-am că și sunam firmă și spuneam că noi suntem serioși, că avem bani. Ei credeau că mai așa, dar la un an de zile ne-am și s-a întâmplat. Noi târziu am început cu o zi, târziu în bani, târziu am început cu tendere, poți pur și simplu și atunci de tendere, dacă nu publicam proiectul în monitor oficial. Guvernul ne reținut până la luna august. Doamna Silvia știe, eu o să fac seminarii și nu puteam plăti flyer. Și toți se băt în cap la mine. Și nu spuneam, domnul, nu depinde de mine, că informația am dat la flyer. Și am publicat în august, ca să înțeleg. Și noi în septembrie ne-am apucat de primul tender, ca să cumpărăm în aprilie. Așa este problemă. De exemplu, noi nu ne-au auzit în decembrie la consorțiul. Eu foarte clar mi-am spus, e foarte clar și deja se înceapă de bun. Nu să aștept eu anul nou, să fac sărbătorile, dar să înceapă chiar de atunci de cum s-a pus 9 decembrie, s-a pus așa, să pus și de tender. Eu mi s-a părut foarte bun, nu așa.
E o idee de nici nu știu să
Noi, dar nu, prima noi ne-a spus că n-a spus asta. Eu deja pe Andrei, când am văzut de la ISECO, apoi de acum pe prânz, cu sunam de fete cu firme ca să pardon paladă, ca să venim paladă. Eu vă spun, asta e... Ca să nu cumpere niște calculatoare care tăți de
Da.
și mai mult dacă se scopul este educațional, în general, orice activități trebuie să fie
Pe așa tip de proiecte fac și naționale, foarte puțin ce poți cumpăra pe contact de valoare mică. Și dacă de la aceeași firmă, de exemplu, deja s-au făcut achiziții, și plus încă o achiziție de pe 690.000, deja când vine curtea de conturi, se penalizează. Deja este foarte excitant. Deci înseamnă și nu știu. De asta nu pot să se vedeți. Da,
poate echipa și
asta nu stai și așa. Că timp că eram și mai consult. Chiar să oameni am dar cum e de greu, de exemplu, dacă nu avem să facem nu știu, dacă de da,
dacă nu avem nevoie de cumpăra securile și trebuie să...
Nu, deci, vezi că nu mai bine nu, scrie, deci, din partea a doua tranșă de bani. Eu am propus să nu apărăm ce avem nevoie pentru proiectul. Și de banii care rămân, de aproape de sfârșitul proiectului, sau nu toate mărnăsești, voi până la etapa 5 trebuia să deja primele cursuri să le dea mult. De primele cursuri cu cursanți. Și voi cu siguranță atunci o să știți mai bine din anul cadrul ăsta, îmi trebuie șurubajul ăsta, îmi trebuie softul ăsta, și mai deja de bani care o să îi economisim. Până și acum am economisit pe practic din bani, pe ultimul exemplu. Nu mai țin minte acum. Niște chestii care le-am găsit în preț mai bun. Pur și simplu atunci o să completăm din banii care le dăm încă din proiect. Ulterior, deja o să vedem. Să nu inventăm probleme, care nu știu, deja cum am văzut. Dar chestiile astea care de completat, sunt sigur că atunci o să completăm și o să completăm. Am văzut țibușul care s-a absolut. Poți să ai o droană mare și să mai ai alții. Oprești.
Da, da. E mai rapidus.
Da, el așteaptă și eu spus, hai că acum încolo, învață, face expoziții. Ei, nu e, ca la muzeu? Da, ca la muzeu. Ei, era și pe
Asta
de ce
nu e.
spun? Că noi trebuie să facem încolo, cred că băiatul tău, cred că cam tot de jos face, câți ani are? Cred că tot 10 au făcut acum la 30 ani. Asta e cam contingent, care și-a spart scosul. Nu, eu vă asigur. Deci, vă făcut e mai interesant. Poate nu interesează ăștia asupra teoriei. Deci mi-a spus, deci nu se poate. Да, что мы учили, что Наталья поставит штамп 4 часа, когда будет штамп. Хорошо? Да, да, без проблем. Да, да.
I think we can go on.
Yes, we can go on.
Okay, so let's go back to this one for the shrine hook. So for example, we have the okay, we have the line. We have the line. You can see the line. There is one, right? And we make some variation. And this is the wing of the drones. And in the wing of the drones, we will put some hooks. So we just need to fly the wings of the aircraft dropped to the wing, and it will slide and catch the hook. You see? So you can see that the hooks is somewhere in the wings, right? So, however, this method is we have some disadvantage. So, large forward and can suffer from shift motion and very rough recovery because this carbon is some kind of very strength, and it suddenly stop the aircraft, and it's not good for the operation for the state of the aircraft. And for the advantages, so we have low landing necessary. So we just have some mechanical structure with the wires, and we have zero length recovery and the proven design. So, however, I think this one is not the best solution for recovering the fixed wing of the craft. And the last one is the wind shock. So the principle of wind shock is this one. So we have a big wind tunnel, and we will fly the aircraft as the drones to this wind tunnel. And then when the aircraft is near to this one, there is very strong wind will throw back towards the drones. So the drone will slow it down. However, and this method has some advantages. So quick recovery. So we just have to push down or for this internet. This one is low cost and low weight. However, we have some limitations. So this method is only used for some type of UAVs, and it has a large footprint, and this one is just some solution, and it's not wind loaded. This is just something in simulation in the lab. So this is not this is not already a solution. So this is some imagination. Okay. So what I mean, this one is some kind of dangerous, because when we fly the drones through the tunnel, and certainly so we cannot predict the state of the drones. So it can be very dangerous for the drones. So this one is just the imagination. And the last one is the parasite. So we have seen maybe 30 minutes ago. So this one for the parasite we will use the parachute, and when we come to land we just release the parachute, and the parachute will do the last thing in order to slow down the aircraft. And when we push down the parachute, we will stop the engine in order to increase the speed of the aircraft, and then the aircraft will fall down with the parachute. So this solution, I think, is a good solution. Not bad. I'm not sure it's the best, but it's a good solution. It can avoid the damage of the aircraft. We don't need to stop certainly. So I think it's a good solution. So you can see this one, the apparatus you can use for both launch and recovery. It's both recovery, and the recovery is independent of the motion of the so this one is for the ship motion, so it will depends on the ship motion. And however, we have these advantages for this recovery. It will depends too much on the wind. If we have the fast wind, so this one will be bad, and the winch that might be permanent. Okay, so now we have seen several methods for launching and landing. So now we are going to evaluate this method, the launching techniques. So we have seen that the list of different techniques for launching fixed-wing UAVs abroad is seen as the initial results of concept evaluation, and these solutions are evaluated and compared against each other in terms of design considerations, criteria, and how well the solution performs. And the higher the score, the better the system performs in that criteria. So when we want to compare the solution, we have to take care about which type of aircraft we want to use, and okay. So now we will summarize the results. The results then as I summarized, and the criteria are weighted against each other in order to act as support in deciding on concept to work further with. And so the design criteria has to follow this thing. So impact on the design. So how much the solution affect the design of the ship if the system requires support for the ship. So for example, for the case of pneumatic and the hydraulic, we need some power in order to reload the pressure, right? So this is considered to be a design alternation. For the safety issues, the risk of damaging of the ship, the UV or any of the crew during the launch operation need to be considered, because sometimes the ship, the aircraft can fly to the humans or can damage to the building or the ground station that we want to recover. So we have to take care of this one. Okay, so we have to take care about how much the launch scheme affects the ship normal operation effectiveness, because this one is we want to launch in the ship above the sea. So if this ship is small and this launch method can affect to the state of the ship, and even we have to care about the weight of the launch system. So the launch system is heavy or not heavy, and and we have to care about the dimension of the system that we want to use to recover the aircraft. And we need to consider also the cost of the recovery method. We have to take care about the certain time. So the time it takes to set up the system and prepare it for launch again. So, for example, the time between the two launch has to be considered. If the time is too long, so we have to think, because for the pneumatic, we have to after each launch we have to reload the pressure. So it will need time, so we have to take care about the set of time. And the manning, so now the crew that is required to operate the system, so we need to see how many people we need for land the aircraft, because if for example for the pneumatic and the hydraulics, so we may need a crew, for example 5 or 7 people in order to operate that operation to recover. So we need to take care about this one. Because the equipment is heavy and okay. Okay, now we are going to the next. Is the meteorology. So this one thing is the most boring that we have to follow, because this one is just tell us about some weather conditions and something else what we have to follow. So we have to be doing let's see that first. So the atmosphere is composed of gas. In any gas, there is a very large number of molecules that are weakly attracted to each other and are free to move about in space. Motion and interactions of individual molecules or the large-scale action of the gas as a whole can be investigated. So this is a picture of the atmosphere. When you guys storm here. So we are going to see the Earth atmosphere. So the Earth atmosphere is an extremely thin sheet of air extending from the surface of the Earth to the height about 100 kilometers above the surface of the Earth. And thanks to the gravity, so the gravity will hold the atmosphere to the Earth's surface, so we will have the air for breathing. The atmosphere is not uniform, so it can be fluid properties. It has the fluid properties and are constantly changing with the time and place. So this called the weather. So the weather will change day to day, maybe time. Hours to hours, and change place to place. So this is the Earth atmosphere, and this is the ground base level. So the atmosphere, we have three zones with separated curve. We have the first zone is troposphere. It's about 0 level to 11 kilometers above the Earth. The lower stratosphere it's about from 11 to 25 kilometers above the Earth, and the upper stratosphere is above. So okay, this one, and inside the troposphere. So the temperatures decrease linearly, and the pressure will decrease exponentially. So we can understand that the higher it is, the colder it is, the temperature will decrease, and also the pressure. But the pressure is decreasing very fast, exponentially. And the rate of the temperature decreases is the lapse rate. So you can see here we have the Earth, we have the troposphere from 0 to 11, the stratosphere from 11 to 25, and we have the upper stratosphere is from 25 to maybe 100 kilometers. Okay, so I'll just talk about this one. And the Earth's atmosphere is composed of the air, and the air is a mixture of gas. We have 78% of nitrogen and 21% of oxygen, and of the others with water, vapor, carbon dioxide, and etc. And the air is usually more dense as uniform gas with properties that are averaged from all the individual components. This defines the state of the gas. So the gas will have a certain type of the, for example, at the normal temperatures, so we have the air, but at very low we will have some kind of liquid. So the pressure and the temperature of the air depends on the location on the Earth and the season of the year. So it's very clear. While it is hotter in some seasons than other, pressure and temperature change day to day, hour to hour, and sometimes even minute to minute during several weather conditions. So this is we can see on the internet the prediction of the weather, and somewhere we have sunshine, somewhere we have wind, snow, storm. Okay, so in order to evaluate the atmosphere, we have to define the typical value. So the typical value are given at the sea level, at the static condition. So we consider that at the sea level. So this is we can say that's the perfect condition. But we will have this kind. For example, in the sound, the speed of the sound, we take at the sea level. It's about 340 meters per second. It's something about that. And as the altitude increases, the air density will decrease, the pressure and the temperature also decrease. So this factor will affect to the lift when to the lift X to the aircraft, because when the propeller rotates, it will touch to the air. And if the density of the air is lower, so the lift generated will be lower. Yes. At the edge of the space, the density is almost zero. Okay? So, so the aerodynamics forces directly depends on the LHT. To help the aircraft designers, it is useful to define a standard atmosphere moment of the operation of progress through the atmosphere. Okay, let's change the environment and to see the one result of how can we see. Okay. Okay, you can see here. You can see this is how the propeller acts to the air inside. So this is just the solution. This is not real, but and we can understand something. So you see when the propeller rotates, it will push the air down and immediately lift. So yeah, it's just the animations. So okay, so we have some condition that today we have a average day, a hot day, cold day, and a tropical day. And we can see in this table the pressure, the temperature in Celsius and in F. It depends on the altitude. You can see the pressure is decreased and the temperature is decreased. Also, so this is the 20,000 feet. And when we want to fly the aircraft, we need to know the model of the atmosphere. So the model of the atmosphere are updated every few years to include the latest atmosphere data, and we have to based on this data in order to have a good flight. The model was developed from atmospheric measurements that were averaged and fit to produce given equations. So whenever you want to fly, you need to see what is the model of the atmosphere at the moment. And this data will be changed by time. Okay, so we see the boundary layer. The boundary layer may lift off from the body and create an effect shape much different from the physical shape of an object. So you can see here we have some object. So we can have the boundary layer relation, and the effect in this boundary layer is really complicated. And the viscosity, when an object moves through a gas, the viscosity of the gas becomes very important. The gas molecules stick to any surface, creating a layer of the air near the surface, and we call it a boundary layer. In effect, change and it can change the shape of the object. So, for example, when we throw the air to the surface, it can change the shape of the object that it touched. So we can see, okay, this one is the table of the temperatures, the viscosity of the air and the water, and you can see the density of the air is much less than the density of the water. So the viscosity of the air is also much lower than the water, and this parameter is also changing due to the temperature change. You can see here at 0 temperatures we have 1.724, but at 40 degrees we have 1.915. So it's changing. Another definition is about the complexity. So when an object moves through the gas, the complexity of the gas also becomes important. The gas molecules move around an object as it passes through. If the object passes at a low speed, so maybe less than 300 kilometers, so the density of the fluid remains constant. However, if the speed is greater than 350 kilometers, so the fluid of the density of the fluid will not be constant and it can change. So this is the graph of the capacity factor of the air. Okay. Okay, so let's see the speed of sound. So you can see that in this at the bottom. So the aircraft flies at the sea level. So the and it's fly at the sound speed. So the sound speed at the sea level is about 1,216 kilometers per hour. But when the aircraft flies at 39,000 feet, so the speed of the sound will be changed. It's only about 1,056 kilometers. So the density of the air will affect also to the speed of the sound. Yes. And maybe in the very high, so it's almost very small.
The lower is density, the lower is...
Yes, you cannot vibrate. So whenever the pilot want to fly, he needs the accurate and timely weather data. For example, where before the aircraft take off, they have to check for the weather condition, and the pilot use the accurate weather information to plan and execute effective fuel management, diversions, and alternate route planning. Because, for example, why we have to see the fuel management? Because if we fly in a very strong wind, so it may take more fuel in order to. And if we fly protect the wind or with the wind, so the route planning, I mean the waypoint will not be the same. For example, you want to fly between these 2 points, and with respect to some wind condition, if you have this kind of this kind of the wind, so you have to fly like that. Right? And if you have some kind of this wind, some kind of not straight wind, so you have to find another straight wind in order to have better flight conditions, and even for safety, for minimize the energy consumption. And they will have some algorithm in order to find the best way to for the aircraft to fly. So for the small UV, the UV can be more sensitive to the winds or precipitations and large aircraft, but they may also be able to adapt to the weather changes with more agility due to their lower operating altitudes. It means that the wind can affect through the small UV, but if the UV fly at the low altitude, so it will not much affect the UV. So for the for flying the UAV, we need some information on the wind speed and the direction. This is what is really important. We need about the we need something about the cloud ceiling. The visibility is very important because when we want to fly our drones, we need to have we need to have the view of our drones, and the visibility will allow us to precisely control the drones. And even the humidity and the temperature will affect to the flight, because when the temperature is decreasing, right? So the density of the air is changing, and when the density of the air is changing, is decreasing, so the motor need to rotate faster in order to generate enough lift. And when it rotates in a very fast speed, so it will be hotter. So it means it will it requires more energy. So it will decrease the flying time. So we have to take care about the temperature and even the humidity, because the humidity can affect to the electrical part. So it can make some explosion or some short circuit inside the aircraft, and it's not a good circumstance. So okay. So the information of the weather we can find in this link. And okay, so for example, this is one application for the drones to fly, and when we want to fly, we have to check all the information about the wind speed, wind direction, the temperatures, and the visibility, the ground forward. So you see about some hazard effect to the operations of the UAV. So the UAV operator needs to be aware of and pay attention to the density of the altitude, the temperature, the visibility, the humidity and moisture, and the icing. The icing is a very bad factor to the ice, to the drones. Okay, let's say for the big aircraft. So for the big aircraft, they will have some altitude in order to measure the altitude, in order to measure the speed of the aircraft, speed of the wind. And sometimes when the temperature is very low, it will icing the altitude, and the altitude will be dead, or it will send us some wrong information about the wind speed or the speed of the aircraft with respect to the ground. And because of this, I think some very serious accidents of the aircraft has happened, and the pilot cannot control the aircraft in the right way in order to save the aircraft. So the moderate with the hazard, we have to take care about the reduced visibility, the weather type. If we have fog, we have cloud, haze, glass. So for example, fog. So the fog will affect our visibility. So when we have some fog condition, we should not fly our drones. The approach with the hazards. So we have to take care about the loss of communications, loss of control, or loss of command, diminish our performance, and this other. Okay, let's see about the loss of communication. So, for example, if our drones go far away from our range, so we will lose about the communication. So we cannot control the UAV anymore, or our drones is hidden about the big building, the high building, so we will lose the communication also. And we have to take care about the loss of control, loss of command also. And we have to take care about this one is this loss of communication, loss of control, and loss of command is this is a technical problem, but we have to take care about some problem about the weather, the type of the wind and turbulence. We have to really take care about the rain and the storm, because if our drones goes to the storm, so we will lose it. Most of the situation we will lose it, because when we storm, so we cannot control it anymore. Okay, so this is the various icons, and you can check it on the internet. So we have to take care about the density altitude. So for example, flying at 6,000 feet in the mountains or on 35 degrees summer day will greatly decrease the ability of the multi-copter propellers to be lift, which will affect maximum allowable payload and flight time. So it means that this is the perfect condition for the drones to operate. But if the temperature is decreasing, so our drones will not work as well as we want. So the density altitude is defined by the pressure altitude and ambient temperature, and has a significant effect on the aircraft performance. When the density altitude is high, the aircraft performance is reduced. The higher density altitude occurs at higher elevations, lower atmospheric pressure, the higher temperatures, and the higher humidity. Okay, so this is really boring again. So I have explained you about when the temperatures increase. So it will affect the motor will not have as much air to grab onto, and the high temperatures reduce the performance of the UAV because of this altitude. And the temperatures can affect also to the batteries. So for example, at low temperatures, the battery voltage can drop below the cutoff of the AC, and the batteries also discharge faster, reducing the flight time. But if the temperature is increasing, so the batteries will the discharge will be slower, so it will be cooling. So we can conclude that both hot and cold environments will cause the adverse direction for various components in the UAV, and it will reduce the flight performance. So for the hot, for the cold, so we need to check. We need to choose the right condition for flight. And we can check it on the internet. We have some this site UV forecast in order to help the information about where the thing we need to know. So this is the impact of the environment to the battery. So the visibility will affect to the operator. So if we can see the UV in the line of sight means that his eye can see to the drones. So for the visibility, we have to take care about 6 points. So first, we have to know the characteristics of the aircraft and how to fly it safely. It means that you have to understand your own drones and to make sure that the aircraft is safe for flight before you operate it. It means that the aircraft has to be at the good condition before you fly. And fly just in the good condition weather. And when you fly it, we have to keep it in your eyes. You see, basically you can see. And the next one is to ensure that the range from the transmitter to aircraft is inside our range. The distance between the aircraft and the remote is inside the range. And we have to take care about the safety problem for the aircraft and for the human. Okay, so the clouds is also effect to our drones. So the cloud is created of the air near the Earth surface, and it will create an air mass in thunderstorm. Okay. So you can see this is the clouds. So if a small UV enters a thunderstorm, the small UV could experience a draft and the draft that exceeds 3,000 feet per minute. So the thunderstorm can produce large hailstorm damaging lightning due to the aircraft. So we have to avoid the thunderstorm. So the moisture in the front of the fog, the mist or rain can short the electronics. So we have to avoid this one because the border inside our electronic circuit is really not good. So this is that if the weather is not present enough for the human operators to stand outside during the duration of the flight, then a visual line of sight mission should be postponed. So we have to cancel it if we don't have the good condition of flight. And for the commercial operator with external pressures, so the measurement conditions may be deemed acceptable. So we have to check the precipitation probability and precipitation intensity will have to predict the most likely condition for that day. Okay, I think this one is very boring, so I will pass on to university to talk. Because this is some very video on video on the information. Okay, so let's see what we have interesting. Okay, this one I think this is interesting. Okay, this one. So we have to take care about the angle between the aircraft fitting and the design. First is known as the craft angle. So you can see in this picture. So this is our design trajectory. But thanks to the wind, so our trajectory will not as this one. So it will be this one, and so we have to take care about the direction of the wind to the flying path. So it's okay. So we have to take the path for reserve how to fly the drone with a strong wind. So you see that when the drone is in 120 meters, so the wind is very strong. It throws the aircraft away from the operators. So it flies 200 meters. It's actually thanks to the wind. So So what do you think in the case we lost the control? Or lost the communication? What do you think? How the drones will behave?
You push the button and turn it forward.
No. I mean, we lost the control. We lost the communication. So how the drones will behave? Just stay in there. In hovering, because we don't send any commands to the drone, right? So it will stay in the hover condition. But
it depends on the wind.
yes, no, I mean if we have no wind, we will stay in hovering condition. But because of the wind, so it will fly due to the wind, right? And whenever the battery is out, it will drop. So now he's losing, I think he's losing this control. But you see the frame of the picture frame is not bright red, right? Thanks to the ribbon, and it will stabilize the camera, and we have we cannot we see the frame is very smooth. So in this, I mean, with this type of drones, it has programmed that if the power is low than 10%, it will automatically land without the control of the human. So it can save the drones. Okay, so that's enough for this one. So what do you think about this situation when the drones flies with the wind, because of the wind? Why it distance forward at one point? Because in this situation, we have okay, for example, this is a 3D map, right? And this is about 200 meter, and we have lost connection, right? And so, I mean, when this last question, why the drone doesn't stay at this point? Because of the wind, right? But I mean, if this drone has programmed that it has to maintain the position, it will stay at the position even though with the wind, because you have seen in the video of Professor Kumar that it will maintain the X, Y, Z position, right? So it means that at every point of this position, the control, if the drones knows its position, its actual position, it means that, for example, the wind take it here, right? So it has to know. So this is the X1 position and this is the X2 position, right? So it can measure its current position, right? So it can measure the error, right? And when it has the error, the controller will control the drone go back to this point. Of course, not exactly this point, but somehow around this point, right? So I think in the video, he used the manual control, not the automatic control. So when it lost configuration, the drone didn't take the information from the GPS in order to have the position, the current position, in order to fly back to the point, to this point that he lost the position, right? So if someone design a good controller, even with the wind, even with the strong wind, the drone will somehow like this one. It's going around the point. It's going around the setting point and never go back far away. If this one is, if it has a good control. Okay? I think we should take a break.
Это вычислить сумму. Завтра решим сегодня. Владислав что прислали уже посмотреть и просит скопировать себе материал на этот компьютер, а мы потом его сплошим заблокируем.
Почему электронный почту? Просто я почему видео.
Видимо, то, что мы
Я
ждем.
хочу все. А почта, я только презентацию надо, а видео будет.
Сколько
Я
я
думаю,
на самом деле это
сначала
дело.
я посмотрю, сколько. Посмотрю, объем. Если расскажу, сколько я поставлю где-то, сделаю лучше всего позиция на печке. Давайте, все, хватит на сегодня.